gatherings like these that have inspired me, challenged me, changed my life. But the thing is we can go through a weekend and we can hear a message and we can hear some beautiful words and sing some awesome worship songs, and we can come back and nothing changed. And the reality is you have to respond to what you receive, and that goes for every single person in the room. It's not just the men that were on the retreat, it's an opportunity for those that were there to really grab hold of something, grab hold of the strength of community and the strength of having leaders and men with good fruit and integrity in their lives, and men that you can follow and go after. But there's so much more for everybody in the room as well. It's really about the response when you hear these messages and you have these moments with people, and so I just want to throw that out there to all the guys that were there. Continue to chew over the words and the message that you heard. Continue to remind yourself of what the weekend was really all about, and don't let it just pass you by. Let it be one of those life-defining moments that you can look back next year and say, I'm not the same man, the same boy that I was last year, And I know for me last year, it was really awesome to be able to say that. From the year before, I could tangibly see a difference in my life over the previous 365 days, and then from last year to this year, working on different things and growing in different areas, But it is really one of those times when you get to gauge your personal growth, And so that's something I like to do at these retreats. And I used to not look forward to these gatherings. I hated them, to be honest. I hated them, and I struggled with similar things that Bo was just sharing. It's the rejection, the feeling, not that people are rejecting you, it's the insecurity and the lack of confidence and the feeling like you don't belong, that feeds into rejection. And you see things through that lens of rejection, and you withdraw and you isolate and you pull back, from community, from the very thing that is intended to help save your life is the thing that you remove yourself from because of your own shame and your own insecurity. And yeah, so there you go. So tonight I decided to do something a little bit differently. It's funny, for whatever reason, the last couple of years I got to speak like the first Wednesday night after the retreat. I don't know why that is, why Jesus did it that way, but I'm a planner. I like to just plan things and have notes for days and almost have it memorized, like almost word for word what I'm going to say. And then, you allow a little bit of Holy Spirit to come in there and occasionally tweak a sentence, maybe change the or thou or something like that, but, it's like this year I knew what day I was supposed to speak, and I was like, okay, I'm going to be gone these days, this week's going to be packed, what are we doing, I'm going to have time, I got to get this thing, when am I going to have time, And so I had a couple hours in the office this afternoon, and I had 5 beautiful pages just ready to go, ready to rip, and I was walking home after work, and I just felt Jesus say, just leave them. Leave them. I was like, oh, why? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? It's like a half hour, you're going to fill space. I'm not really the life of the party type of guy. Okay, maybe that's a lie then, but still, I'm perfectly content to sit in a group and laugh with everybody else and not be the one that has to say the joke, And that was a moment on the retreat, actually. I was in a group surrounded by people. They were sharing jokes. It was a great time. I was laughing and I liked myself. I liked myself. And that's different for me, That's new for me to do, because then I will convince myself in moments like those, or I used to convince myself then, man, something's just wrong with you. You're so quiet, you're so shy, you have nothing to give, nothing to offer these guys. And so it's changed, it's changed. I can definitely say 100% it's changed. And it was awesome. So anyways, yeah, I left. I'll be honest, I brought my notes because I was trying to have like a dialogue with Jesus about, you sure? Maybe I heard you wrong. Maybe that's not what you meant, And then I'm just in worship, just chewing it over. What am I going to say then, And I have that idea, and I'll get to it, but it's just that dialogue. And I said, well, I need to show my wife that I trust Jesus. you know? I need to show you guys that I trust Jesus. And I need to show myself that I trust Jesus, you know? Whether I think I have a message or not, it's like, if he says it, you know? My message tonight was kind of about who is he? Are you going to do what he says? And it's like, that's what he told me. I'm on the couch, and I'm laying there taking a little nap, you know, and just like arguing with him. I'm like, he's like, well, what is your message about tonight? I told him, and he goes, exactly. All right, Jesus. Sounds good. It's probably the last week or two, I had this memory kind of brought up from my high school days. For those of you that know me or don't know me, I love baseball. You know, I'm a baseball guy. I played it since I was about 4 years old. So, and just my whole life, it was one of those things that, you know, I bonded with friends over. Something my dad did. I get to play catch with my dad, you know, and just play with friends, you know. And it was something I just loved. I just cherished over the years. Definitely, you know, my favorite sport, you know. And it's also one of the sources of my greatest hurts, though, in my life growing up, part of my identity wounds, you know. I remember, and just for whatever reason, the other day, it just came back in my mind, and I'm picturing it. So, I come from a high school, it was like a graduating class of almost 600. There was like 1,500 in the school altogether, you know. So you got a lot of guys competing for sports, you know. And I definitely wouldn't classify myself as one of the best, but I knew I was better than good. You know, I could get around, I could feel, I could hit a ball, you know, that sort of thing. And so I tried out for the team, and my freshman year, I didn't make the team. Didn't make it. So that hurt, right? I see all my friends playing. I still got to play publicly, but it wasn't the same, you know? It's like you're that, everybody else gets to do it. So my sophomore year, I tried out for the team. And this year, I made the team, but a little help from my mom. I know, embarrassing. Turns out she called the coach, want my son on the team. So I was on the team, but I didn't feel like I earned it, you know? Like it was just out of pity almost, you know? And I don't want to receive out of pity, so it's like that whole season I kind of walked with that. Didn't really earn it. Yeah, I deserved to be here, but I didn't earn it, you know? And so then my junior year I tried out this varsity team now, and that year actually I made the team on my own. Made it. On my own talent, good enough. Coach says my name was on the roster. Felt so good, right? It was like an accomplishment. And then I go, my senior year, I try out for the team, and thinking I made varsity as a junior. There's no way I'm going to not make it as a senior, right? Well, sure enough, day comes, and looking at the roster, my name wasn't there. And so my name wasn't there. So I was just disappointment, hurt again, you know. And so I said, I'm going to talk to the coach. I'm going to go over there, just find out what's up. And I go to him, and it was this one phrase that still to this day stands out in my mind. And he said, Ryan, you were good, but you weren't great. You didn't stand out. And I was just like, ugh. He said, but will you still do the books? And honestly, I did still do the books, but I couldn't help it. I'm still a book guy to this day, all right? But it was just that phrase, like, you didn't stand out. You weren't good enough. You missed it. And it's like, and I realized when Jesus showed me that memory the other day, it's I've lived most of my life based on that lie, believing that I'm second best, that, you know, just not good enough, will always be second, you know, second place, you know. And it's funny, I've seen this play out in my life in different ways even. It's kind of funny. Just when I was a trumpet player in high school, and I made it all the way to second chair, you know. You know, and just different areas, you know, and so it was just that memory came back up, you know, and it's just like Jesus showed me, and the thought came after it, says, why does shame have to win? Why does shame get to win? Why does the lie get to win in your life? And it's like, why does that voice get to be the loudest voice when you have so many other voices that are shouting something else at you, that are just cheering for your success? Why is it that every truth that they're trying to tell you, the truth from Jesus that they're trying to feed you with, that it just somehow doesn't quite measure up to that lie? You know, why does that lie still have the power? And, you know, for me, I don't believe that lie has that amount of power in my life. There are moments and days when it comes back at me, but I wouldn't say it has a grip on my life like it used to. But I think Jesus was showing me that memory because it just brought that back up. And that phrase is, why does shame have to win? And I'm asking you guys, why does shame have to win? You know, why does the lie have to win? Whatever it is for you, whatever situation you found yourself in as a little boy or a little girl, being hurt, being disappointed, being let down, being lied to, you know, why does that have to win? And it just is there's another voice out there that is trying to yell at us, you know, that's trying to get our attention. And a lot of times it comes from other people, you know. There's a lot of voices that I let speak into my life now that I never used to, that I need to hear. And I believe Jesus speaks through people. But then there's also the voice of God, the voice of Jesus, that he wants to speak to us directly as well, you know. And it's that voice that we have to listen to and turn to, you know, like a frequency. Just adjust the knobs a little bit, you know. And, you know, we've got Isabel Allen coming. And I was a student 10 years ago in the Toronto School of Ministry. And Isabel and her husband were there, and they were prophesying over all of the students in the school. And I encourage you guys to come. You know, you're not going to want to miss it. She's amazing. But she definitely said some just powerful words over my life that I can look back to this day. Actually, we were just in Illinois, and I found all my old prophetic words just on my wall, you know? And it's like, that's the voice that I need to let speak into my life. Not the lies, you know? I need to combat the lies with that voice. And so, the voice of Jesus. And so it's like I read some of those, and it's like, Brian, you're meant for so much more, you know? And there's more detailed stuff than that, but it's just that point that there's just a stronger, greater voice that's trying to combat the enemy, you know, that we let into our life. And so I want to go to a story in the Bible, Mark chapter 10. And this is something that Jesus has been speaking to me, actually, for the last few weeks. And, yeah, I just want to share it with you guys tonight. If that's okay. It's okay, because I have the mic. All right. All right, Mark 10, verse 17. It's the story of the rich young ruler, right? See, some of you already automatically let you know where we're at. It says, as he... Jesus was setting out on a journey. A man ran up to him and knelt before him and asked him, "Good teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life?" It's a good question. Anybody else want to know the answer to that one? Jesus said to him, "Why do you call me good? No one is good except God alone. You know the commandments. Do not murder, do not commit adultery, do not steal, do not bear false witness, do not defraud, honor your father and mother." And he said to him, "Teacher, I have kept all of these things from my youth up." Looking at him, Jesus felt a love for him and said to him, "One thing you lack. Go and sell all you possess and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. And come, follow me." Follow me is not a new phrase around here. If you've been here for any length of time, you know that's a big message of ours. Following Jesus for good reason, you know. But I'm thinking about this story, and I'm putting myself in the shoes of the story, just as an eyewitness, right? And just picture this man run up to Jesus, kneeling before him. "Good teacher, what must I do?" And Jesus, I always find Jesus' his response kind of puzzling. He's, "Why do you call me good? Only God's good." And the more I kind of chew on that, because I didn't quite understand what he meant by that. Like, Jesus, are you saying you're not God? You know, what do you mean? Like, why are you calling me good? Only God's good, you know? The more I chewed on that, I realized that Jesus isn't saying that he's not God. What he's doing is he's challenging the intention, the heart of the guy. Why are you calling me good? Only God's good. So if you're calling me good, are you calling me God? Is that who you say that I am? Is that what you're saying? Do you see me? Are you recognizing me? Or are you just throwing a phrase out there? You know? We sing songs about God's goodness all the time. We did tonight. Wonderful lyrics, right? And it's true. But why are we calling him good? Is it because we see him for who he really is? Do we know him to be the Christ, the God, the only real God? You know, like you tell me tonight, Brian, I'm the only God. The only God in worship. It's like, whoa, that's cool. Everybody claims there's gods, you know? It's like, you're the only one. It's amazing. And so I put myself in this guy's shoes, you know? It's, why do you call me good? And then, he reads on, he says, well, do these things. He says, I've done these things. And if you look at that closely, Jesus kind of left out some commandments there. If you know the 10 Commandments, he kind of missed a couple of the big ones. There shall be no God before me. You know, it's like, why'd you leave like the 2 biggest ones out? And I think it's because he was trying to get the guy kind of in a dialogue, right? Yeah, I've done these, Jesus. I've checked out the list. I'm a Christian, Jesus. I pray 5 times a day. I go to church on Sundays. I fast. I do the prayer walks. You know, I cook the meals for the meal trains. Whatever it is, right? And he says, yeah, but you haven't done this. Now, I don't think it's a question. I mean, Jesus does go on to talk about money and how difficult it is for the rich to enter the kingdom of heaven, but I don't necessarily think he's talking about the abundance of wealth. It's more, he was going for the question of who is your God? You call me good, you're declaring I'm God, do you mean it? And it's clear from his response, he went away brokenhearted. He couldn't let go of anything because his things were his God. His possessions were his God. He himself was his own God because he was following himself. And he couldn't do the very things that God actually called him to do. Give it up, be selfless, come follow me, give your life to me, come follow me, come join the others that are following me. And I see that and I look at that and I see that's community. He's inviting him into community, come and join this movement because they recognize me. Will you recognize me? And it's like, whoa, Jesus, you're God. Like, what's God in my life, you know? What's God in your life? I want to say he's God of my life. I believe he's God of my life. But does my life actually declare that? We talk a lot about fruit, and that was one of the awesome things about the weekend we talked about was the fruit of your life. The fruit of a man's life declares that what he really believes, you know? And, you know, Steve shared a picture of you take a piece of fruit and crack it open, and it's got, I don't know, 50, 100 seeds in it. And each seed has the potential to be planted, watered, grown, to produce even more fruit that can then produce more fruit and produce more fruit, you know? And that's a picture of what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to receive that seed, Jesus, into our life, and then we can produce that around us, you know? And he's saying, will you follow me? And one of the biggest things of the whole weekend for me was, do you have a Christianity that works? And it's like, you want to say, of course my Christianity works. I'm a Christian. You know, but another thing Jesus spoke to me at worship night was, being Christian one day doesn't make you a Christian the next day, or the next day after that, or the next day after that. It's that continual pursuit, that continual knowing that he is with you. And how do you know that he's with you? Because he's drawn to holiness. He's drawn to a life of loving him. More than loving yourself, like the story. Loving himself more than God was not being a follower of Jesus. If we love ourselves, if we love our things more than God, then we're not a Christian. We've got to be willing to put the things that we have in submission to him in order to be a Christian, right? And so, does your Christianity work for you? And for me, that inspires me because I want my Christianity to work. And I'm so glad and I'm so thankful that I have men I can look at and go, yeah, their Christianity works. I'm in a safe place today. I'm in a safe church. I'm in a safe body because we got people that actually believe. And you see it in the response. They go through the trials and they go through the hard stuff that would cripple anybody. And they come out on the other end just... You know how many times I talked about the situation with your house burning down when we were on vacation? and just the attitude that you guys walked in, the faith, you know, I can proudly say that I'm a staff member of a church in Oroville. I've got amazing pastors, like none else that I've ever met in my life. And when I say it, I mean it. Because I've seen it. And I've been here 9.5 years, and they've never given me a reason to doubt, or a reason to believe they were faking it, a reason to believe they weren't a Christian, because their Christianity works. And like Kevin was saying, is sonship's all about imitation. Christianity, we need to imitate the people in our life that are leading us so that we can bear the fruit that we're seeing in their lives, that we can become someone that says to people behind us, come follow me, come imitate me, come bear the fruit that I have in my life, and pass it along. You know, I'm doing the dishes the other day. And I know, it's kind of rare. Just kidding, I love doing the dishes. Yeah, I do. She cooks, and if she cooks, I will clean the dishes every time. You got it, man. And so I was doing the dishes, and I just started thinking about inheritance for whatever reason. Popped in my head, weird, right? And I started getting mad because I realized that if I look at my family situation, I'm not really going to get much handed down to me. I was joking with Jordy. I said, I might get a used lawnmower. Praise the Lord, as long as it works. I could use a used lawnmower. But for whatever reason, I was going through this thought. I wasn't happy. I was kind of mad. I was grumbling at God, and I was like, I'm not going to get anything. Because I think we have this desire, we want to just give, we want to pass along to those that are behind us, right? And I think that, and being a husband and thinking about having a family one day and picturing like just leaving something for my kids, it's like that's important. I have that desire of, I want to leave something. But then I started realizing it's not about possession. It's not about the amount of money that you leave in an inheritance, because the reality is you're going to leave something for every single person that's around you. And you're going to leave something. And it's up to you what that is that you're going to leave for other people to inherit or see from your life, or the man or woman that you're going to decide to be today, that the message that your life speaks right now in this moment to those that are around you. It's like you get to decide what that's going to be, what that's going to look like. And for me, that challenges the heck out of me. And honestly, it inspires me. It's like, I want to leave something. What is my life saying? Is my Christianity working? Because at the end of the day, it's not about being a good man, being faithful or good with books, or, being kind and generous. Like, those are nice qualities, but that's not what's most important. What's most important that you leave is people know that you are a Christian, that you love Jesus. And not being a Christian, but being Christian. Because like I said, you can be a Christian one day and not be a Christian the next day. And that's not a good outcome. It doesn't bode well, let's say. And so I want the fruit of my life to look like something. I want the fruit of my life to be something, and I get to choose what I'm going to leave. I get to choose the message I leave behind. And, one of the awesome things that happened this weekend is just coming to that awareness that Jesus lives inside of me. And I was always timid and afraid to stand up and say, my name is, and I come in the name of the Lord. For some reason, it's like I just felt so powerless to say that almost, And it's like, no, being Christian means He's in you. He's with you. You have power, you have anointing, you have authority. You can do the things that Jesus did. You can heal, you can lead people to Him, to the Father. It's like, man, what a privilege. What an awesome opportunity I get to have in my life. I get to be Christian. I get to have Jesus inside of me. I get to say, my name is Ryan Kelly, and I come in the name of the Lord Jesus. And I come to bring hope. I come to bring peace. I come to bring whatever it is, And it's like I want to embrace that. I want that to be who I am, what people see when they encounter me, And so that's kind of the journey that I'm on, It's just discovering this, what that fully means to be Christian. What that fully looks like, And then revisiting that is, I don't want that shame and that fear and those lies to rule me. I don't want my past to rule me. And if I'm honest, there are some things that still have their claws in my back, And those are the things that people are helping me to see, helping me to identify, things I can't see for myself. My biggest asset in being on vacation was my wife. Because I don't recognize that dysfunction, in my family sometimes, But she does, and she gets to speak to me and say, no, this is good, look out for that, or be careful with that one, And so we have people that are fighting for us, and that's why I go back to community, is that the evidence of Christianity that works is being plugged into a community that has their roots in Jesus, that knows where they're going, knows who they are. And when I read that, Jesus saying, come follow me, I see that as him saying, come. We're going together. Not just you and me, that's great. That is you and me, but it's us together as well, and we're going. And so that's what I want to plug myself into. Because I know for me, community is what started to change my life. I couldn't do it on my own. I became a Christian when I was 16. And I come from a family of a long line of men and women that abused addiction and drugs and alcohol and just, you name it, right? And I was the first Christian in my entire family. And even though that's true, it's like I had this hunger and this desire inside of me. I knew I had encountered Jesus. I knew there's something more real here than I've ever seen or experienced. And I was hungry. For me, it took seeing a community of kids my age that believed in God to stir that question up in me. What's this all about? There's more here than I saw when I was a child. There's more here than I ever was taught about. There's actually, God is real, and I can know him. And it was from that moment that I just kept following the breadcrumbs, started going to church, I never wanted to even play guitar. I started playing guitar. There was a youth band. I just saw what they were doing, and it's like, I want to do that. I started imitating the worship, leaders, started becoming one. But even so, I lacked those defined leaders in my life to really take me to the next level. And so I would have struggle after struggle after struggle, defeat after defeat, failure after failure, until ultimately, Jesus led me here. And I've had more victory, more freedom in my life in the last 3 years than I've ever had before that. And it's because I chose to follow Jesus. He spoke to me. He told me that he was real. And I believe he's God. I believe he's good. And I believe when I say that, that's saying that he is God. And he's the one that I want to follow. And so, I just hope that speaks to you tonight. That's kind of my heart, where I'm at right now on this journey. And I know that I'm not alone. I know that I've got a family and a community here with me, helping me to go one day at a time and to keep getting better in every area. And so I love you guys. I thank you that you're my family and that you have my back. I appreciate it.